We're back on the 2021 rookie profile. Is Ian Book a heat seeker? Watch and find out. It's Brad from RotoHeat and RookieDraftGuide.com. Greetings and salutations. Welcome back to the channel. If you haven't already and you have watched a video here with RotoHeat before, let's click that like, subscribe, the notification icon. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Hopefully by the end of this video, you'll have been at least remotely entertained, enough so that you're interested in sticking around and becoming part of the RotoHeat and Rookie Draft Guide family. We do appreciate everything you're doing to help make us a successful channel here on YouTube. And just go over to RookieDraftGuide.com and you can see all of our great rookie content. All right, one question per show. Is Ian Book draftable? I'm gonna make it easy on you. Tell me if he's draftable. Let me know in the comments below. You know what we're doing here. We like to keep this conversation going. We want to keep talking about Ian Book in the comments below. So let us know what you're doing with him. If you're even touching him in any of your drafts, Superflex, 1QB, let me know in the comments below. So Book is one of the most winning quarterbacks in Notre Dame history. You know, coming out of high school, coming out of Oak Ridge High School in California. Wasn't highly sought after. I mean, a 3-star prospect. If you go to like 247, you know, Rivals, some of the big services, he got a fair amount of offers, but it wasn't big schools. You know, some of the high-end schools other than Notre Dame. You know, Boise State, Idaho, UNLV, Washington State. You know, the 6 foot, 200 pound, 6'1", 200 pound Book, profiled as more of a pro-style quarterback coming out of high school. I think when we saw him in the league in college, we saw a kid that could do more than that. You know, we saw a fair amount of rushing from him. He'd get out of the quarterback or get out of the pocket and move around and do some of those things that were really quite impressive. You know, if you were into Debbie when he was coming out, he was labeled as a pro-style quarterback. And a little bit of footage I saw didn't really lead me to think anything otherwise. But as we watched him in college, we saw a quarterback who had a good completion percentage and a very willing ability to get out of the pocket, scramble, and make some things happen. So I want to hit some of these stats because it's really interesting to look at his college stats because they're kind of all over the place. You know, as a freshman, obviously he didn't get a ton of action, 75 attempts and 61% completion percentage. But then once he really got involved, 2018 on, 68% completion percentage. He completed 214 out of 314 attempts, 2,628 yards, 19 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. You know, same in 2019. He completed 240 out of 399, 60.2% for 3,034 yards, 34 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. You know, we hit his senior season, 228 completions out of a possible 353 attempts, 64.6% completion percentage, 2,830 yards, 15 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Yeah, I mean, you see, you know, an up and down of all those numbers, but the thing to me, I really love the fact that he was able to still continue to complete a high number of passes, you know, especially when you saw, you know, the talent around him was pretty solid. I mean, you know, obviously think of like the Chase Claypools of the world, but he had some good options and he made the best of it. Then when you add in the rushing factor, I mean, in 2020 alone, 485 yards. I mean, he was averaging over 4 yards a carry, almost 5 yards a carry in 2019, and over 500 yards rushing. I mean, we see a kid who, you know, is the complete package. A smart passer who doesn't turn the ball over a ton, willingness to move. I mean, I think a lot of the big knocks against him will be just the size. But when you look at any of the draft or scouting services that you like, you know, whether it's Draft Tech, TDN, any of those, he's really not high on anybody's list. You know, I think he has the ability to. I think in the end, he probably has the ability to make a roster, probably more like a UDFA, just because of he was a winner. I mean, in college, he did all the things that were asked of him, and he made Notre Dame a very successful program. I mean, they made runs, and you know, obviously they hit some buzzsaws there at the end each year, but they were a really good football team. And Ian Book was a big part of that. So I asked you a very fair question. Is he even draftable in fantasy? The issue that we run into, when I go through our guys and look through the notes is, the mobility is there. There are a few of the guys on the team that think he tries to run too soon. Kind of, if your first option isn't open, tuck and run. Some of them said average arm strength, average. Like everything was average about him, nothing spectacular. With the success he had in college, I think teams are going to spend time digging into, can he become more? Because we've learned that you don't have to be 6'2" and up to be successful. Shorter guys can do it if they have other intangibles that can help make them successful at the next level. With Book, I just don't. Our team doesn't really have a good feeling about him. If we had to say we're feeling hot or not, more of a not. When I looked at, kind of comparison to the other guys on our list, he's right around the 10 spot for us when it comes to our internal team rankings. He's kind of in a spot where you just don't know that you're really going to touch the player. When I go through the evaluators' notes and look through what they're seeing, everything to me says everybody thinks he's average. And unfortunately, average gets you to be, kind of a backup at the next level if you've got the work ethic and some of those other intangibles that can get teams to notice you. So, unfortunately, the outlook isn't good from the RotoHeat team. He is a guy that has the mobility and has a lot of the things the NFL's doing nowadays. So if he can get latched onto a team, and this is personal opinion, if he can get latched onto a team where he can use his mobility and the skills that he does have, his high completion percentage and things like that, his intelligence with the ball in his hands to get to one of those teams where he can be more, kind of West Coast, where you can get the ball quickly, quick rhythm passing, just moving the ball, dink and dunk down the field, things like that. I think he has a chance to make it on a team, and that's really all you need is a shot, right? Unfortunately, all the things that we're saying is fantasy-wise not very appealing. It doesn't really get you excited in the late rounds of your draft to take a stash and throw a guy in a taxi squad, which is where Book would be if you're looking at anything. He might be a taxi stash to see what happens, but there's so many quarterbacks in this class that I just don't know if he's really got a chance to be much more than, back end of a NFL roster type guy. His mobility is his most impressive trait. For those teams that are looking to go to kind of the new way of the NFL and the new style of playing, he fits. I mean, he can do some of the things you want him to do, and he's a better football IQ passer than some of the guys that are in the league now being successful. But he doesn't have some of those high-end traits, big arms, things like that. I mean, everything's pretty average other than he's got a really nice ability to make plays and things like that on the run. So, again, let me know in the comments, what are you doing with Ian Book? Hit our Discord, hit our Facebook community. All of our communities are exploding and growing quickly. So we thank you guys. We love and appreciate everything you do. Don't forget, rookiedraftguide.com to see more in-depth coverage of Ian Book and every other 2020 rookie. And we'll talk to you again next time.